Hi, my name is Jamie McIntyre. I'm CEO of the 21st Century Group. Today, I want to thank you first of all for listening, and I just wanted to talk about why do I believe a financial education is an absolute must for Australians in today's rapidly changing world. I was reading an article recently. It was by the former Federal Treasurer Peter Costello, and he was interviewed on a local radio station, and he was talking about that in the future Australians are going to need to be what he termed self-funded retirees, and he explained why, which is because so many baby boomers are moving towards retirement. In the near future, there will be twice as many people dependent on the government as there is people in the workforce working and paying tax. Now, many of us suspected this to be the case, but if we think about that, if what Peter Costello was telling every Australian is that we have to become a self-funded retiree, what does that actually mean? And if you think about it, what it actually means is that we have to become investors. A self-funded retiree, you have to become an investor, which then you must ask the question, which I know I did many years ago, is then why weren't we taught at school about how to become an investor? Think about it, we're not taught at school about how to become an investor. Then we go off to university, like many of us have done, and as a pathway to what we thought would be success. Then we, once again at university, it doesn't teach us how to become investors. So the question is, if Peter Costello and the government is saying to us that we have to become self-funded retirees, effectively have to become investors, then as the average Australian, where do we go about learning how to become an investor? Now, some parts of government departments and regulators, what they will say is they will say, well, only go and see a licensed financial planner. And one of my first mentors, one of my first millionaire mentors, he said, Jamie, if you want to become successful in life, if you want to even become a millionaire one day, he said, if you do what most people do, then you're going to produce results that most people produce. He said, if you go along and see a financial planner like many people will, he said, the question you've got to be asking yourself, if a typical financial planner can show you how to become a self-made millionaire or even just achieve moderate financial success, then the question is, why haven't they done it themselves? And it was a very valid question. So when we think about it, if the average consumer is not taught at school about investing, how to become a successful investor, not taught at university, then they trot off the financial planning industry. I've found I'm a little bit concerned about that. The reason is because if you think about, let me ask you this question, to become a financial planner in this country, do they have to become successful investors and produce a PhD in results, so to speak, before they get their license to advise people on money? Well, you and I both know, you can take it a guess, it's not the case. Actually, do they even have to be trained in financial education and knowledge about investing in detail? And you might be surprised to know the answer is actually no as well. So it raises some concerns that if the average person is not taught about investing, they have to become a self-funded retiree, according to our former Federal Treasurer Peter Costello, then where do they go to get that information? And it's interesting because for myself, I've been very fortunate. I'm surrounded today by many very successful people, and they become, many of these people become self-made millionaires. Some are in their 20s, like myself, others in their 30s and 40s. And what I found when I interviewed many of these people and many success stories over the last decade of my life, in my search to discover what's the difference why some people make it financially and others don't, when we all live in effectively the same country. And what I found is not one of them said the key to me becoming a self-made millionaire is that I went and found a good financial planner and they helped me become a millionaire. And it's not to pick on financial planners, because there is some good ones out there. The point is that how they did it was the same thing that I did. What they did was they read a lot of books by successful people. They went to a copious amounts of seminars. I know for myself, I invested tens and tens of thousands of dollars in going to valuable wealth seminars and financial education seminars to develop my education around investing, etc. And also finding mentors, people that had produced a PhD in result. So, but we think about this, if I was to ask this question, there's 21 million people in Australia today, and this would be the same for most Western countries if you're listening in from other parts of the world. Out of 21 million Australians, if we ask them all, what do you, how many of you want to become a self-made millionaire, or how many want to become a millionaire? Now, obviously, the famous shows Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is quite popular today, and if most Australians are honest, they'd all put their hand up and say, yeah, I want to be a millionaire. But what if we asked a separate question after that and said, who's prepared to invest in their own education, their financial education, or to do what it takes to become a millionaire, or maybe just at least financially comfortable in retirement? And then the number of 21 people would shrink dramatically to perhaps a few 100,000 or less than 1 million people, or approximately about 5% or less of the population would be willing to invest even into a good book $20, $30 to begin their education around financial knowledge. And that's an interesting statistic because you weigh it up, there's about 94 to 95% of Australians at age 65, statistically, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, will highlight that they will not be able to have enough money to retire. They'll have to rely on family or the government. And as Peter Costello, our former Treasurer, has highlighted, there's simply not going to be enough taxpayers in the future to fund that. So we have a situation, many people value education in our society. The challenge I find is that they don't value financial education. How many people will take a second job, will sell their car, will do whatever it takes, the level of commitment to go to university and invest that money because they've invested in university education because it's been indoctrinated into them, so to speak, culturally conditioned that that is the key to success and that's a valuable thing to do. Now, I'm the first to admit that a university education is absolutely important. However, I, like most people, would now recognise then to be successful in the 21st century, you're going to need more than a university education. And however, people will invest tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars into that education. But when it comes to their financial education, how many people will be willing to invest the same level of commitment to developing a financial education, an education that will serve them for life? An education at a university, $100,000 or whatever it costs over a 3 or 6 year period, over a lifetime of working 40, 50 years in a higher paying job, because effectively that's what a university degree will get you, is quite a good return on that education. But many people don't also recognise for financial education how important that is. And I can say to myself, the reason I was fortunate enough and blessed to become a self-made millionaire in my 20s was because I recognised many years ago, over a decade ago, the value of financial education. And I went and invested just as much into a financial education as I had into university. And as a result, I was able to produce well above average results financially. Now, I don't share any of that to impress you, but to impress upon you that why I think a financial education is an absolute must in today's world is really a bit, what Peter Costello, our former Treasurer, highlighted, that we have to become self-funded retirees. And therefore, to do that, we have to become educated about investing, or we have to rely on the advice of someone else. And as we've seen, certain industries, such as the financial planning industry, in many cases, not in all cases, often profit by the ignorance of consumers and individuals around money. So I'm going to suggest you develop a financial education. One of my passions as an educator over the last 7 or 8 years has been to teach people the knowledge and the skills that I was fortunate enough and blessed to learn off my mentors and make that readily available and accessible to as many people as possible. So you're more than welcome, as a result of listening in, is to go and download my book. It's a best-selling book. You can buy it in all leading bookstores for $35. It's called What I Didn't Learn at School But Wish I Had. And as a gift for coming to this site, you're welcome to opt in and download that, yours at no charge. And also you can pick up a 3-hour DVD of myself presenting the secrets that helped me develop the financial success I want in a 3-hour action-packed seminar of a large range of strategies. It's been great chatting to you, and I look forward to talking to you soon.